Okay, so today we're going to talk about Duke Ellington, one of the biggest and best jazz musicians ever, one of the best American composers and band leaders ever. So the Duke was born on April 29th, 1899 in Washington, D.C. His family was, his father was James Edward Ellington, a butler, and his mother Daisy Kennedy, a housewife. The Duke was actually born Edward Kennedy Ellington and got the Duke nickname later on. His family were both educated. They were both middle class African Americans. They were both musically educated. His parents were both experienced piano players, and put him in lessons as early as 7 years old. Those were his first contacts with music, but he didn't really take music seriously until later on because he thought that he didn't have a talent for it and wanted to try sports, which was something very common back then. His first job was actually not in music. It was as a peanut salesman in baseball matches. His early work in music was only possible because he heard ragtime. That was his biggest inspiration. That was when he started taking his piano lessons seriously. Ragtime was a type of music played in clubs and bars back then, and he used to wait at some and sneak into others to hear this music that inspired him so much. That was what got him to play piano again, and he dropped out of high school at 17 to start playing professionally, and he did using his contacts from his family and his hometown, integrated some ensembles until he formed his own, the Duke Serenaders, in 1917, and played with him for a good while, until in 1933 he got his first full-time engagement and was able to have more time to work on his compositions. And he started contributing to other people's records and making a name for himself with his 10-person orchestra, introducing his African-American style, which was what he called it. In 1926, he signed with Irving Mills, who put him into the prestigious Cotton Club in New York, which is a very highly regarded club for music. It was for the high society of the white people, and the musicians were known to be Black African-Americans. That's when he started his orchestra work, playing with an 11 to 15-person orchestra as their band leader. And later on, he started taking smaller groups of 6 to 9 of this orchestra and playing with them. He didn't do just the Con Club, he recorded with a bunch of different artists, and he performed all over the world with this orchestra. He toured everywhere and extensively. He was always on tour. He was a great performer. His performances would last 2.5 hours and be a plot and be like, he was amazing. He was huge all over the world. In his later years, the war made it hard for this big band orchestra to exist because musicians were in the military and the finances. But an appearance at a jazz festival and a new live LP brought him back to the spotlight, and he's found new stability recording at Columbia. He started scoring for films. He continued to collaborate and make arrangements for other artists, and he toured and performed until about a month before he died of lung cancer in May 24th, 1974. His musical style it's hard to describe. Even he would say that he was part of the American style. He didn't like to put himself into just jazz or just blues or just anything. He thought of himself as someone that went all over with his music. He did very important work in several areas, but the biggest contribution that he has is definitely the big band jazz, the orchestral jazz that he pretty much invented and made it big and popular. He was responsible for the elevation of jazz as a big art form, as a big music form, which wasn't back then, wasn't as highly regarded as it is today. And at first he used to do a lot of popular music, many hits, but as he got more established, he started polishing his music a little bit more and turn away from popular music to make his own more expressive and richer music rather than just dance music, which was what was played in clubs back then. Didn't care about the fashions. He just composed his music the way he felt it should be, using worldwide influences. One of his main identities as a band leader was his piano playing. against a full-fledged orchestra, resulting in an incredible, rich, unique sound. During his lifetime, he composed over 3,000 songs, including hits like It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing, Take the A Train, Caravan, Mood Indigo, and many, 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 many others. As I said, over 3,000 songs in his lifetime. He had over 200 albums released, and is one of the best-selling jazz musicians of all time. He was awarded 11 Grammys, over 22 nominations, and he was also awarded a President's Gold Medal, the biggest award a civilian could get, and a Pulitzer Prize, posthumous one, but he was nominated for it in his lifetime. And he was also nominated for an Oscar for scoring a film. I can't remember the name right now, but it's Paul Newman and Sidney Poitier as jazz musicians. And one fun fact about him is like how he's got this Duke nickname is because of his gentle and classy manners early in his life. Thank you.